Okay, we're ready to begin the Rules Committee meeting. Again, those committee members are McKittrick, Fusco, Amobian, Connor, and Davis. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Clerk Viviano. I'd like to call the Rules Committee to order. We have previous minutes to approve. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We have a piece to come before us today is a resolution opposing the passage of Ohio General Assembly House of Representatives Bill 335, which would eliminate the acquisition of funding for certain local government entities and public institutions necessary for the continued operation of vital public services through the millage and declaring an emergency. I'd like to yield to Councilman Fusco since he is the sponsor on this.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman McKittrick. This is the, there's outside millage, inside millage, as I understand it. The inside millage is not voted on by the voters. It's 10 mills, I believe, is the number. That it's within the Ohio Constitution that entities such as cities, schools, also county agencies such as developmental disabilities, alcohol, drug and addiction, mental health boards, Department of Aging, Children's Services, etc. They also have access to the inside millage, again, which is within the Ohio Constitution, according to the Ohio Legislative Services Commission. This is not, I don't know how the legislature could change this and eliminate it altogether. It doesn't make sense. In terms of what it means for the city of Akron, I've requested that information, hoping to get that this afternoon sometime. Exactly what it means for us, I know police, fire, and other agencies are going to be affected adversely, obviously. I think for us, I did hear a number of almost $40 million. Is what the impact would look like, possibly for just us as a city. In terms of the statewide and referencing schools, of course schools, they also have access to the inside millage. And according to the Ohio Education Policy Institute, published from them, statewide, and I don't have the number in terms of Akron specific, but statewide total would be about $2 billion, I believe. The number of full-time teachers that would be affected, 100,000. The teaching positions that could be eliminated would be almost 20,000. So 20% almost of teachers within our school systems would be adversely affected as well. So this would have a tremendous impact in a bad way, of course, for our city. And it's timely that we do this. I'm going to request that we do this today. I don't often request that, but I think sending a message to the State House and this House Bill 335, and hoping that it doesn't move forward and become law, which I don't understand how it could even become law if it's in the Ohio Constitution by the State House, but request that we send this message to the State House asking them not to move forward on this, as it would have a profound and extremely devastating effect on our budgets. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice President Fusco. Are there any other comments or questions from any other committee members or council members? I'm not seeing any. Could I get a motion for suspension of the rules with a favorable report?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will get that out this evening to council, and there's nothing further to come before Rules Committee. We will be adjourned. Thank you.
Our next committee is the Public Service Committee. Those committee members are Kamer, McKittrick, DeShazier, Bolden, and Lombardo. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'd like to move forward and call the public service meeting to order, please. All members are present. And we do need to approve the minutes from our last meeting, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Well, thank you. We do have a few new pieces in front of us today, and I'll ask Sarah to read in the first piece, please.
Item number 11 is an ordinance ratifying the actions of the Director of Public Service or his designee in contracting with Butcher & Sons, Inc. for the emergency demolition of various structures and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Sarah. And I see we do have our service director, Chris Luddle, with us today. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of committee. Yes, we have 6 structures that we entered into contract with Butcher & Sons to take down these structures. Most of these structures were due to fire damage, very unsafe conditions, and we deemed that they needed to be demoed as soon as possible. So the 6 structures, there's a couple of them in Ward 9, one in Ward 3, and I think 2 in Ward 5. Some of this work was done as of late as last year. We did get invoice from the contractor, which is Butcher & Son, and this will allow us to pay them.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Let's see if there's any committee members that have any questions. I don't see anyone. Any other council members with us?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, our camera is not showing the full screen right now. Councilman Lombardo has his hand raised.
All right, Councilman.
Thank you. Mr. Luddle, I just wanted some clarification. So, first of all, you said this already happened?
Yes, they're all down, sir.
Okay, because my other question probably doesn't make any sense, but what's the difference between this and, from what I understand, the demolition program, which I love, and I'm sure every council person loves when the houses are demolished that need to go. What's the difference between this and, from what I understand, a group of like 50 is sent out for bids? So like, what's the difference? And I understand also, fires take precedence.
Well, I mean, not every fire would be the same, okay? But the unique thing about these 6 were it was deemed by the building official imminent failure or collapse. So, when the fire department's out there, if the damage was significant, roof caves in, one of the walls are gone, it could cause a problem for, anybody around, a neighbor, that type of thing. So it needed to be demoed immediately. We've had other fires where the fire hasn't been that significant, where it boarded it up, it wasn't an immediate danger of collapsing. That's why sometimes those take longer. And then sometimes with fires too, there's insurance companies, right?
Right.
So those sometimes will delay the demolition till all that is cleared up. But these were all an imminent failure in order it could have collapsed at any time.
Yeah, the price there seems to, I get the emails usually from our clerk or, the housing division there that says usually the price is around, under 10,000. These seem to be way more than that. Were they bigger structures or?
One was a church.
Oh.
I could get specifics. There could have been, some of these have to go to different landfills because the asbestos was not abated. I don't know the particulars, but I could get those for you.
That's okay. All right,
Okay.
that's all right. And then the last question is, if I can ask, on the corner of, East Market and, oh my gosh, is it Forge? What's the church that is held up by, steel girders,
That's St. Paul's Church. It
Yeah.
just went to a hearing last week,
just went?
to a hearing for vacant building to be demoed, and I believe the outcome of that was to give them another month They have a plan with some investors, so I think that has been extended to next month's hearing. So it did go before the board to be issued, to be raised.
Yeah.
And then the owner of the property brought in a different investor, and they're talking about sending a plan to the city on how this structure could be saved and rehabilitated.
Interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions or comments from anyone? All right, Chris, what would you like to do with this?
Could we suspend the rules? I mean, we'd like to, a couple of these are from 2024, sir.
Sure. Committee?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
I have a motion, a second for suspension of the rules. All in favor? Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, we'll suspend the rules on that one, Chris. Moving on to the next piece, Sarah, please.
Item number 12 is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Burgess and Nyepel, Inc. for the design of the Cuyahoga Street Storage Facility Disinfection Project and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll turn it back over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of committee. This legislation will allow us to enter into an agreement with Burgess and Nyepel for the design and some engineering during construction. What this project entails is adding disinfection at the Cuyahoga Street Storage Facility, formerly we called Rack 40. So this is one of the first basins we built in the CSO program in the early 2000s. It's a 9.5 million gallon storage basin. And part of our consent decree and our ask for the Fourth Amendment is, we've talked about this before, in lieu of building the high rate treatment at the end of the OSIT tunnel that we completed in 2021, this would be an alternate project that we would do. So what this will entail is typically what in our model shows that we overflow about 100 million gallons in the typical year into the river. Well, by dewatering the tunnel at a higher rate, we can send flow about a mile north to this Cuyahoga Street storage facility. Well, there it will induce an overflow. What this disinfection will do, will be able to reduce that 91 or 90 some million gallons a year in the typical year to around 60. So this will lower our overflow by 30 million gallons in the typical year. So this project is something we've proposed. Ohio EPA has been in agreement with us. So this will allow us to move forward with the design of this project.
All right, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Committee members, any questions or comments for Chris Sluttle? All right, I don't see anyone. Anyone else with us today? Okay. Chris, what would you like done with this piece? What are you thinking?
Consent's fine, sir.
Okay.
Motion for consent?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we'll move forward and put that on the consent agenda. Moving on to the next piece, number 13, Sarah, please.
Item number 13 is a resolution formally adopting the master tree planting plan and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Chris, I do know we have a sponsor, Jeff Fusco, on this too, but I'll start with you, Chris, in case you have anything to say.
Sure. You're correct. Councilman Fusco has been very helpful with our tree commission since it was established in 2016. This legislation will allow us to formally adopt the master tree plan. Between our law department and our law directors here, John Skaken, once we look through our ordinance, we never formally adopted this through council. So this will allow us and authorize the tree commission, which gives them the authority to have hearings. And we just, like I said, we never adopted this ordinance when we originally established the tree commission.
All right, thank you. I'll go ahead and see if Councilman Fusco wants to add anything.
Yes, thank you. Thanks to John for his work in the law department on this particular item, and Sarah Biviano as well, who kind of identified this early on, that it wasn't formalized whenever we initially had done this. So this will do that, formalize the actual master tree planting plan, and for all council, just to let you know, whenever there's a tree that's proposed to be located on, I'm going to call it, like most of us, the Devil Strip. Some folks refer to it as the adjoining parcel, I think is the new vernacular, but I'm old school, and it's going to stay with the Devil Strip. But whenever we propose a tree to be planted, there's an appeal process. I don't know if everyone was aware or not, but people can appeal that and present it to the tree commission, and we'll hear their concerns and then make a recommendation to the service director. So this is formalizing that, as well as adding it within our code, which is going to kind of make it in one place versus a number of places, from what I understand, and it's just kind of cleaning up our code, referencing the tree commission altogether. So I believe that's it, right, John Skaken? Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct, Councilman Fusco.
Okay, thank you, sir, thanks. So, and I'm not asking for immediate passage. If folks want to look it over, a consent agenda would be okay, or taking a week's time or whatever. But yeah, both, and this addresses, I think it's 3 and 4 on the new, I'm sorry, what's the numbers on the new legislation?
This is for 13 and 14.
13 and
There's
14.
Two separate pieces of legislation that are cleaning up information about the tree commission.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, 13 and 14. So, yeah, thank you. That's all I have.
All right. No, thank you, Councilman Fusco. I appreciate that. We'll see if anyone on the committee, Public Service Committee, has any questions or comments for Chris or Jeff Fusco. I don't see anybody. Anyone else online with us today? All right. Now, Councilman Fusco did say time or consent agenda. I'll leave that up to the committee.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor of consent, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, well, thank you. We'll put that on the consent agenda. Moving on to our next piece and final piece, number 14, Sarah.
Item number 14 is an ordinance amending and/or supplementing Title IX General Provisions, Chapter 101, Trees and Shrubs, Sections 101.12, Planting Map, and 101.14, ordering improper conditions to be remedied, notice and appeal of the codified ordinances of the City of Akron, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. And I'll go ahead and start with Chris Luddle first, just in case he has any comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and obviously members of the committee. This is a cleanup. This legislation is a code amendment to add tree planting to the objection list. If you read the original legislation, it only gave residents the ability to object to special types of trees or species of trees. So this allows a resident to object of having a tree planted on their lawn strip, devil strip, whatever you want to call it. It also, because most of the objections, as Sarah and Jeff have heard over the years, is not wanting a tree in front of their house on the lawn strip. So we do, or they do, work with these residents, and I've been on a couple calls where we have looked at, okay, not putting it right there, but maybe moving it away from the driveway. So we've come to some agreements on relocating the location of the tree, because obviously our goal is to plant as many trees as we can, and the benefits of the stormwater and all the things, heat island. I mean, if you look at our weather right now, if you had a tree and it was shading your house, I'm sure your air conditioning load would be less than if you didn't have that tree, and especially in the last few days. So after the hearings are over, the tree commission, this will give them, they will give a recommendation to the service director or their designee, and then the decision could be made whether to relocate it from the original spot or maybe not to plant it at all in front of that home. So that's what this is. It's a cleanup of the code, sir.
Okay. No, thank you. I appreciate that. And then I'll definitely call on Councilman Fusco just in case he has anything to add. If not,
Nothing. Thank you.
okay. I do have a question. I wasn't going to ask any questions, but as you were explaining this piece of legislation, I did have one now. I had the new tree arborist at my community meeting a month ago, and he mentioned that we're not going to be planting trees on the lawn strips, devil strips where there's power lines. And I did drive down Brown Street just like a week ago, and I do see some newer trees on the devil strip planted under the power lines. Can you elaborate a little bit on that real quick for me?
What we are looking is, this comes into the species of the tree, sir. First, when we look at power lines, and most of these lines that they get into first are the communication lines because they're lower than the power lines. So what they are looking at is a tree, first of all, it has to be sized for the width of the lawn strip, right? So the last thing we want to do is add to our sidewalk program. We want to stop that, right? So this tree will only get so big. This tree will be more of a wider canopy, not as a high a canopy. So when the forestry division comes in from those power companies, they won't have to chop out the top or cut a V or that type of thing. So they are being a lot more prescriptive on the type of tree that has to be planted in front of these homes that have power lines on that side of the home. So you could have seen some where there's power lines, but the whole intent is to keep that thing, one, under maintenance and have a better tree trimming program, but also not to plant a tree like we would see in Sharon's ward and St. Ledger where they're huge, right? We do not want to have that happen again.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. All right. Any other questions from committee members? I don't see anyone. Any other council members? All right. Consent okay on this one. Is there a motion?
Move for consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Well, that is it for us for public service. We are adjourned.
Our next committee meeting will be the Budget and Finance Committee, and it will begin at 3 o'clock. Those committee members are Lombardo, Amobian, Fusco, Boyes, and Bolden. Again, that's the Budget and Finance Committee, and it will begin at 3 o'clock. Thank you.